Thank you. There you go. Sorry to get said, Danny, that we didn't have things here, but now we got to play.
Yeah, let's talk about something.
All right. Can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me? How about now? Everybody hear me? Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. I would like to thank everybody for braving the weather and coming out on this miserable December yucky day. But this is the last meeting of the year. What a year it has been. We do appreciate everybody that's taken part in everything, and we want to welcome everybody here tonight. And something that I have failed to say for many times, we thank Landon Beaver for being here, filming and helping out. That's good for that. Appreciate that. And I was going to say something else about that, but I'll wait till the end on that. This is the Yancey County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for December the 8th, 2025. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I've asked Commissioner Ledford if he would to lead us in our invocation, and I'll lead us in our pledge.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father God, we just thank you, Lord, for the opportunity, Lord, to be here tonight. That business again, and we just ask, Lord, that you would give us wisdom and discernment, Lord, help us to everything that we do, Lord, to glorify you. Amen.
As always, please. The first order of business, item number 3 on the agenda is election of chairman and vice chairman. We do that every December. So we'll do the chairman first. Any nominations for chairman for the board of commissioners?
I nominate.
Have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Next is our vice chairman. Any nominations for the vice chairman for the county commission? Second.
Second that.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor from Mark Ledford as vice chair, signify by saying aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you for that. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Everybody's had an opportunity, I'm sure, to look over it, and look, we've got a very short meeting tonight as far as the items on here. Any discussion on the agenda?
Motion approved.
Have a motion to approve, do I hear a second? 2 seconds, Madam Clerk, take your pick. So all those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda this month. The approval of the September 25th, 25 special meeting minutes. The approval of the October 13th, 25 regular meeting minutes. Approval of the October 20th, 2025 special meeting minutes. Approval of the November 10th, 25 regular meeting. Approval of the resolution of the County Board of Commissioners concerning schedule of its regular meetings and also establishing the 26 holiday schedule. Approval of the fiscal year, and nothing has changed, by the way, for the public, that we're doing everything the same as we always have. Approval of the fiscal year 25-26 budget amendment number 1 and number 2. Hope everybody's had an opportunity to look over these, just moving some things around. If there's any discussion about that, Brandon would be happy to let you know what those were. Budget does not change, it's just rearranged some things to fit. Approval of the tax release adjustments for 2025, approval of the Maitland Community College budget request 2025, which is the same thing we do standard operating procedures every year. And the November 2025 tax collection report, which is for informational purposes only. So any discussion or anything about the consent agenda? Have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Second, all those in favor say aye. None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you so much for that. Next, we have Ms. McIntosh who's going to be talking to us about a tax refund late application. Thanks for coming tonight, ma'am. As usual.
Can you hear me? Okay. So we'll start with the refund. There was quite a few in your packet. I'm working on the informal appeals, so there will be more. Most of these are storm damage related, and so I can go through them all, but it's up to you what you want to do. I also have a couple of late applications that are not in your packet, but they came in after.
Are all these recommended?
They need a decision.
Make a motion. Approve. All these.
There is a motion on the table to approve as recommended by our tax administrator on these tax refund late applications. Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye. None opposed.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Next on the agenda, while the vast majority of everybody's here, we've got Sigmund. He's going to be talking to us about our long-term recovery group update, and Chris has got a whole lot for us. And we'll turn the floor over to you, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Mr. Mr. Austin, Mr. West, Ms. Burleson, Mr. Hoover, and Mr. Wall. I'm gonna move quick because I got a lot of what I want you to hear tonight. And then I got a special treat for you as planner and intern for Mount Heritage High School, Mr. Emmett First, honor student, soccer player, intern extraordinaire, and he's got a presentation for you guys as well. So you get the big team first.
Yeah, I heard about this number. So we appreciate, know your dad and appreciate him. Thank you.
start here.
How are you, Brian?
All right. So we're going to start with the long-term recovery group. First slide in, what is a long-term recovery group? It's a nationally recognized group of local individuals who work after a disaster in between all the other agencies. So we work with county government, and you're that tonight. We work with 70 nonprofit organizations. We work with the state, and we have dedicated resources from FEMA and VOAD to help us. Our group is sponsored by, fiscal sponsored by AY Wellness. So we had to have a fiscal sponsor to go after grants because we hadn't been a nonprofit for 2 years. Got that 2 years tax return, right? So AY Wellness is our fiscal sponsor and Avery and Mitchell, right? And we're joined at the hip with those three organizations in a couple ways. So we share grant writers, and they are phenomenal. And you're going to hear tonight some of the stuff they're doing for us and for the county. We're writing some grants for the county that will go through with you guys that are free money to the county under great costs. We'll go through that. And then we have a controller that we share. There's a lot of financial reporting. Grants have real strict requirements. Teresa Huffman was the controller for Spruce Pine Hospital and Norcross School. So she has both nonprofit and big business experience. So we share her costs with the other counties. Next slide in. Who's our board of directors? I think you guys know everybody on here except maybe two. Ted Bruner, our chairman. Ted lives in Yancey County, so does his daughter. The bridge we repaired in Bowling Creek was his daughter's home and others up in that area. But Ted's former Lockheed Martin engineer. He's the former IT director at Mars Hill University. And he formed a nonprofit called A Bridge Home that works multi-county. He also received $1 million grant from American Red Cross. And he's mainly focused on bridges and roads and culverts. And we partner with his organization a lot. Our organization is built around case management. His is built around construction implementation. So it works well. Our case managers will find projects. His group will implement them. We'll buy the materials. It's a great pairing. So that's Ted Bruner. He's our chairman. Lisa Schultz is probably somebody you haven't heard of. She lives in the CeeLo community. She's a former human resource executive. She's former AY Wellness Board of Directors. So she has a lot of nonprofit experience, and she's really my right arm. I work with Lisa daily at the long-term recovery group. She helps manage the case managers with me, and I couldn't do what we do without her. I really respect her. And I think everybody else on this list, you guys probably know. If there's one you don't, shout out, and I'll highlight them. Our case managers, I will point out that we handpicked case managers who applied that had been on the ground, boots on the ground, doing disaster recovery for Helene in various parts of the county. We're kind of clannish. My wife's parents have never really been to Pensacola and don't know the people up there. They stay in South Texas. We wanted people who knew their communities well. So Lucy Atkins, I've highlighted her as a David Atkins' wife. And that's a big bonus, man. We got the backbone and maintenance we get on the building and what's she thinking? And we get funding through NC Works. Right? And not all these positions are funded by the long-term recovery group. I want to point that out. And we're stretching our dollars to do recovery work by getting some of these positions covered. Katie Hauser, she ran Ball Creek Relief. Laura Wilson was a fuller case manager. Both of those positions are covered by Lucy's charities. So they pay for those positions to be a part of our long-term recovery group. Christine Hauser, retired Army major. You might have heard of her. She was the mailbox lady. She wanted to do something and she started replacing mailboxes in the county and replaced mailbox after mailbox throughout Yancey County. Glad to have her and her leadership and military experience. And then Becky Yancey, our project manager, and she was a former Encore. case manager. So all these people were boots on the ground helping. And I'm very proud of our team. We got a wonderful team. Next slide in. Since September of this year, we've raised $1.6 million. So all that is to go to help in disaster recovery here in Yancey County. Our focus is Yancey County. The grants we've received, I've highlighted them. The American Red Cross grant, the $1 million grant, we have to spend all that money towards disaster recovery by the end of 2026. So we have to spend it or we lose it. But we're laser focused on that, and we have direct reporting to them. All our financials get reported to them. And every time we need a draw, we have to spend down the money on what we said we were going to spend on. Dogwood Health Trust gave us $300,000. That's a 2-year grant, and that will help build capacity and help pay for our overhead. Western North Carolina Community Foundation gives $100,000 in unrestricted funds. We can use it how we want. AMY Wellness gave us $50,000 unrestricted funds. North Carolina DEQ, I want to highlight this one for the commissioners because I'm going to come back to this one a little later. We got $150,000 to do a controlled floodway around the Mountain Farm Road Bridge at Hill Creek. So that bridge services 14 families. This will be a joint project. That bridge is in the state private roads and bridges project to be repaired and replaced. DOT is also working on slopes along Cattail Creek in that area, trying to get a 2-to-1 slope and not make it so steep and make it more flood resilient. So we're working with all 3 of those agencies. We have an engineer design controlled floodway around that bridge. There's 2 homes that floodway will go through. Those homes are all in the mitigation buyout. That will become county property, and we actually need that space to create the floodway. This will take velocity out of the stream. It'll take pressure out of the sharp elbow in Cattail Creek Road. It gets washed out all the time, and it'll protect the bridge. But all these things got to happen in harmony, and we've got to work with these other organizations to make it happen there. There's a $50,000 match on this grant, and I'll get to that because I want the county to help me with that, and I'll explain how we're going to do a grant to try to cover that in a bit. Come back to it. Active cases. We currently have 134 active cases. Many of these cases came from the resource fairs. We have 4 resource fairs with other nonprofits throughout the county where people can come and ask for help. And that helped us generate a pool of people that our case managers reached out to and determined their needs. Of those cases, we have 23 that we call red cases. Red for us means it doesn't meet the safe, sanitary, or sustainable living conditions. Don't have water, don't have proper sewer. Any campers that losing their camper, losing their site with camper is anything of that nature goes to the top 5 list. That's a red case. We've enrolled 51 people in the Red Cross Extended Relief Assistance Program. That's a $4,500. They can spend it on anything. If they were displaced by Helene, we enroll them in that system. It has to come through one of our case managers, and then the Red Cross picks them up. We have 23 cases we've enrolled in UNC. And the building that you're so generously letting us work out of, we have office space in there for Renew NC. They're there Mondays and Wednesdays, and people come in left and right. So we're grateful, and they're grateful for that office space. Next slide in. Current projects. We've identified 87 families that were displaced from Helene that are living in campers. Through the Beacon Network, we've helped fund a program to winterize those 87 campers. We currently completed 60 of them. That program is fully funded, and we will get all 87, and then they have enough money to branch out. They're going to look at doing homes or doing campers in other counties. That's a winterization program. The Riverview Campground, we have people who are losing their campsites. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the winterization, I know that's, the interior. But are you doing something to put underneath as part of it?
We do. So we do foam boarding, insulate, and taping all around the camper. So far, They got really cold here a couple of weeks ago and all of them, I mean, no freezing issue. So I think they got it. There's two Connex trailers behind our building down there full of materials to do this program. A lot of that we got donated.
Good deal. Thank you.
Yes, sir. At any time, you got to stop. You know, they lost, a lot of those were renters too that lost their rental home. And that's considered the second home for that landlord. And there's no funding for that. The many landlords couldn't afford to replace rental homes. So you got that going on. You also, it's kind of bifurcated. You got people who lost their home who want to rebuild on that site or live in a camper on their property and they don't want to leave. So you got both going on. Riverview Campground, we lease the campground, the whole campground through the end of next year. There's 7 sites there. They're taken and they're full, and that's paid in full for them, utilities included through the end of next year. One of those campers was donated by the county. It was one of the 3 that the county had. The lady living in it, in that campground now, free now. The winter propane program. So we have an account at Watson's and we got vouchers. It costs about $150 a month for a camper in propane. And this is a program that's free. We are funding it. And anybody that comes in and staying in a camper needs a voucher, we give them one. We had 2 propane racks this morning. I gave out 3 20-pound tanks. People can bring an empty one and we'll swap it out with a full one. And that is down at the building. So anybody that's in a camper can get free propane. Next page. Okay, Mountain Farm Bridge. I've already talked about this one. So I'll skip it. Car program. We've been working with Mountain Strong. Mountain Strong came to me early on and said, where can we plug in? And I said, nobody's replacing cars. People don't have a chance if they can't travel. So our case management and Mountain Strong has replaced 2 cars. One of them was a lady lost her husband in 35 years in the flood. One of them was paraplegic, lost his car. He got it last week. Ricky Kitchen drove it up for us. Got it last week. He liked the Cadillac because he liked the big seat where he could get in and pull his wheelchair across. So Cadillac DeVille is what he got. We're also working on this next one with Mountain Strong, and I'll explain. So there's multiple agencies working on this project. So Snakebite Holler lost their bridge. Sweet Birch Lane lost their bridge across the Cane River. There's 3 families on that side of the river that have no access. They're driving through the river or they're walking those beams you might have seen across the Cane River. The state is going to build them a bridge. They've committed to it. They have engineered it and designed it, but they don't know when. So we just couldn't let them go through winter traveling across the river the way they were. So Operation Hilo is funding a swinging bridge, as we call it. It's a walking bridge that's being built right now. And it's built to the level that we can get a stretcher or an ATV, an narrow ATV if we had to across the bridge in an emergency. Samaritan's Purse is funding a road from that bridge over to one of the homes, the furthest one from the bridge. And LTRG and Mountain Strong both built an ATV. It's actually parked behind our building. And as soon as we get it over to him, that way he can go from the walking bridge to his house down the ATV trail that we're building. But nobody will have to be in danger of crossing the river until the state can build their bridge. Next projects. We've done 2 road and gravel projects, Water Circle and Lazy Gate. We helped fund regroup a charity out of Charlotte, the Trail Bridge. Charity tracker software. So we, along with the other 2 long-term recovery groups, purchased a common software system. And this is our intake software that when we get a case, they come in, they go through the software program. That's how we track all our projects. But we purposefully wanted common software with the other counties so that if we have another emergency, like a wildfire, let's say it starts in Mitchell County, we can deploy our case managers over there and everybody's working on the same system and vice versa. Unmet needs table that starts this Wednesday. This will be where We can bring our unmet needs, or any other nonprofit can bring their cases of unmet needs to the table, and all the nonprofits sit around the table and we look for ways to meet those unmet needs. The last one, I say the best for last, this is our biggest project. We call this Camp Hope. And this would be a 30 mobile home community for families that were displaced by Helene. We have property under consideration, Sam Young, at 200 acres on Baker's Creek. And Sam is amenable to letting us build the community there on his property. We would lease it for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, we turn over a working mobile home community to Sam at a given rate. We're trying to target a rate that'd be free for those 2 years. But after that, a rate between $800 and $1,000, that's all in. That's utilities plus a pad fee. Samaritan's Purse has agreed to donate the mobile homes and the fully furnished mobile homes. So if all goes well, we hope to by this summer have Camp Hope up and running. We would like to see green space, and then have a request from the county that I'll go through in just a minute. But we would like to see a playground for children, picnic pavilion, a dog park, and a community garden space. Those are the projects and that's the LTRG update. I've got more for you. Any questions on that? Right. Okay, I'm going to start with the summary of Yancey County projects where the LTRG is supporting the county. And there's some reciprocal things here, so I had a couple ads. So when we went to the DEQ for the grant for the Mountain Farm Bridge stream restoration grant, we also asked for a grant for Bowlins Creek. Turned down on the Bowlins Creek. We won Catsup Creek. This grant, this first grant, is from the North Carolina Emergency Management Disaster Relief and Mitigation Group. This has to be through a municipality, so the county has to be the grant applicant. We put this in for $216,000. In that number is the $50,000 of the match that we need at the LTRG to do the Catsup Creek project. The rest is to fund Travis Shaw's Bridge is the first bridge at the top of Bowlins Creek. It used to sit 14 feet above the stream bed. It now sits 4 feet above the stream bed. We've replaced 11 bridges down Bowlins Creek. If that bridge dams, we get that dam effect where it breaks and then takes out the next bridges. It endangers all those downstream. So my ask is, if we get this grant, that there's enough money there to do the Bowlins Creek project and $50,000 left over to do the match at Catsup Creek. If the county would donate that 50 back to the LTRG, we'd be very grateful. And this grant has already been submitted and applied for. So there's no work here on the county side other than maybe a planner. So that's the ask. Medical services grant, we've submitted a grant for Christy Brown to the Garrison East Foundation for $43,000 for specialized equipment that she's outlined here. That grant went out this week. She's asked for $1 million to replace her EMS building. We've not found a grant for that. If we do see one, we can come to you and see if you want us to apply for that grant. But we're on the hunt in case we see one of that nature. Okay. The church project, I'm gonna go through that in just a second. I'm gonna skip down to Camp Hope. There is a mobile hometown grant that can be used for playgrounds up to $50,000. We would like to submit this grant on behalf of Yancey County for a playground at Camp Hope. With your permission. The prescription pad building, the bridge was compromised and the parking lot is sinking. We are searching for a grant to try to support Ms. Betty Young in repairing that. Not having luck yet. It's in a funny place because it's not a bridge to a primary residence. And it goes to a business, but she doesn't run it through a business. It's not an LLC. It's not a corporation. It just has always had it there. So she's a tweener. I tried to get her to donate the bridge to the town, but the town didn't want it. If the town had taken it, we could go after infrastructure funding. So I continue to look. Our best bet may be, Anthony Randolph and the prescription pad people who lease that building go after the big drug companies like the Pfizer's and some of them. They have foundations to do medicine, bring medicine to small towns. So I'm hopeful we can still find something, but I'm searching. It's expensive, and I'm worried because if you go look at the bridge, there's holes in the bridge. You can see through it. And the asphalt sinking where it compromised the asphalt all the way up to the building. I don't know if it goes under. So it's a significant amount of money to fix that bridge, and we're searching. Okay. Last grant, this is not the LTRG that's supporting this. This is the Blair Shepherd 5-chart grant, but I want to explain the way this is written. And this grant doesn't have a home yet. We have met with DEQ. They have a grant coming up, and we've asked them to include this as an option for that grant. They've asked for a second meeting with us, so we're going to meet with them again, and they're bringing a larger contingent to the meeting. This is to go out around high-density communities in the county and take debris out in a perimeter around them. If a wildfire came, it creates a buffer. So areas like Mountain Air, Cattail Creek, Mount Mitchell Golf Course, we got high density that backs up against large spans of forest. If a wildfire comes in, it's going to be hard to defend. This takes out 120,000 cubic yards of debris. Now, the county just contract this out. We're not buying a biochar machine. We're not hiring employees to do this. This is just funding to do that project that Blair would like to use biochar and a carbonizer. He would have to buy that equipment, manage it himself. So we're not really getting in bed with him, and we would bid this out. This would be a bid contract, right? We did 100%. So this is a $2.6 million project for Yancey County with an eye on wildfire mitigation. Okay, so there's not. As long as they let it in, right? They let it in, we're going for it. God's free. Okay, I'm going to talk about the church project. Mr. Ernst will get up here. So, the presentation I gave you here is the church project, the amphitheater project. So the EDA has these grants, and we didn't have an economic development project on the table, right? So this has been one that's been near and dear to my heart. This opportunity, if it were to come to fruition, would be a real feather in the cap of Yancey County. It would also replace the jobs that Lily Farms was going to bring to the county. So this is a way to give back to the county personally. I'm kind of vested in this, but this is your decision. It's a big decision, right? And I don't need a decision today, but I do need a decision at the next commissioners meeting in January. That grant's due before March, but it's on a first come, first served basis. So the faster we get it in, the better opportunity we have. The money will still be there. All right. So the project's on the 92-acre tract that the county owns off south. So backs up against Mount Mitchell State Park. Tourist attraction that really has 3,000 people a year to travel to go to Blue Ridge Parkway at Mount Mitchell State Park. 42 acres of that tract is for the Air Church Chief Cares Program. So that leaves 52 acres, a very steep, unique terrain that something else could be done. The idea is to put an amphitheater on that section, okay? And I'll show you a little bit of detail about that. The views from there are beautiful. This would be our own little Red Rock Canyon. We call it the church. It's kind of a nod to every church is building 50 homes right below it. It's a faith-based community, and everybody that wants to go to a concert can say they're going to church. So that's where the name came from. You can change it if you want. You go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. You'll see the layout of the 92 acres bifurcated the survey. Kind of see where the church community will sit down in that flat, the air church community down in the flat. I'm talking about the rest of the land. Go to the next slide and blow it up for you. If you look at the topography of this really got my attention. It's a natural bowl. It's already naturally in the shape of an amphitheater, an outdoor amphitheater, right? The contours of it align. Now, it takes, at least AI says, it takes 30 acres to park 5,000 people. So that leaves 20 acres where the amphitheater would be. So we have the terrace parking into the hillsides, a lot to this big project, but it's a natural bowl for an amphitheater. You go to the next slide, here's some examples. These are outdoor amphitheaters. The most famous is Red Rock Canyon, but the Bethel Woods, New York amphitheater on the top left is one that is most conducive to what we're talking about. We need a covered, seated area. You want the lighting to stay below that pavilion level for our dark sky, all down lighting, dim lighting. And then terrace grass seating, general admission. Very similar to many of the amphitheaters you see around Western North Carolina already. If you go to the next slide, here's the financial costs. We threw Red Rock in just, to say that's the holy grail, right? Red Rock is, I gotta use my good eyes. Red Rock seats 9,500 people, and they do a lot, right? They do 200 events a year, and they generate $231 million. If you scroll down, you can see some comps in Wilmington, and then here's Asheville. The Asheville Yards, it seats 4,000 people at $65 a ticket on average. 20 events a year, they generate $3.6 million. If you do the church at 5,000 people, at 76% attendance rate, at $35 a ticket, that's a low rate, only 25 events, you're generating about $3.3 million in revenue to an operating budget of about $1.9 million. And I'll go through how I got some other operating costs in the next couple slides. All right, so we think the budget for this thing is $30 million. This first grant is just phase one. It's a $7 million grant that has a 20% match. So we would need to come up with additional grant funding to meet the match. This first phase is just design, engineering, traffic studies, stormwater and utilities, permitting, all the things you do on the upfront side of a project, right? I do anticipate concerns from the community that we should all consider. Noise would be one, dark skies another, and then traffic along Highway 80. If you go to the next slide, I met with DOT, Stephen and his entourage earlier today. I want to explain this. This is the intersection at the Michaelville Loop. The red triangle to the right was a project that was already on the books for DOT for $2.5 million for turn lanes, a right turn lane and a left turn lane coming into to that intersection. The day I called Chris and told him I wanted to meet what it was about, he was going into a meeting. This funding was on the agenda to be pulled. They're going to pull the $2.5 million to do those lanes to pause the school. They closed. And the money was going to go elsewhere. He took that off the agenda for us. Okay, so that money's still there. It's still open discussion within DOT. So divine intervention, I called him on the right day. Now, what gets a little tricky, the properties that are outlined in red are in the mitigation grant buyout program. Okay, there they're circled in red, emergency management at state level is not supposed to approve those for the buyout. Okay? But if these properties get bought out, you can never expand that intersection beyond what you do to the right there. Okay, and I should also point out that triangle on the right, the project that was on the books, there was a gas station there that leaked. So that is contaminated soil, and that does drive the cost of it. They have to take all the soil out, take it out, mitigate it, bring back fresh soil, that sort of thing. But I bring this up because it's something that you guys should think about. These properties that are being bought out, some of them we may consider buying just so we have optionality to expand that intersection in the future. And that was you as 2:00 today. Okay. The rest, I'm not going to go through this. I have this information for you. What this is, I was fortunate enough to have a brother that worked at one of the premier event centers in the state of Montana. So I was able to speak with their managing director, who gave me everything. Gave me all their operating budgets, their full-time employee list, their part-time employee list. I got all the technical specs for that facility. It was a $28 million facility that hosts 111 events a year. So I got great insight based on how to run an event center, what it costs, some of the key hires you need to make early on. There's 7 full-time employees, and then they have 77 part-time employees. And a lot of these are retirees or college students who work part-time at the event center, ushers, ticket takers, parking attendants, all those things. I did want to point out that this is not just people automatically go to concerts. It's not just concerts. They rent these out for weddings, for movie night on the mountain, all sorts of other events. Except your phone will ring for people wanting to rent the facility out for things other than public events. So I throw that on the table. So our grant writers have put together a grant. I'm hanging a lot of meat on the bone and burning some midnight oil to try to get to all the things I think are needed to make the grant successful. I'll let you know though in January if you guys want us to submit that or not, okay? And I didn't have all the technical data on the facility. If you want to see it, it's an older review. But if no other questions, I'm ready for the highlight of the evening. I'm going to turn it over to Emmett Hurst.
We appreciate you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Just like what you see, y'all. This is the culmination of a semester's worth of work.
Hi, my name is Emmett Hirsch, and for the past 3 months, I've been interning for Chris Stigman in the Yancey County Planner's Office. Today, I'll be talking about the land conservation tax laws. On the next slide, the goals for this project were to discover the economic impacts of land conservation efforts from Tennessee. Tennessee is a vine property in Yancey and surrounding counties, and we wanted to discover economically what this meant for our county. The first goal was to discover the economic impacts, but we additionally wanted to find how much land was actually conserved acreage-wise. And also what this conservation meant for the county tax base, for the fire department and the county tax base. And additionally, gathering the information, we wanted to offer an alternative to offset the economic losses due to its conservation. Some background on Yancey County in land conservation and present use tax. Yancey County ranks 33rd in the state of North Carolina for properties in present use value. What this means is the land is valued at a lower amount, so the county receives less taxes off of it. This means the county average for state properties in present use value is 8%, while the state average is 3%. So this is much higher than the state average. So we already have a large amount of properties in our county that are at a lower tax rate. Tim Sweeney has purchased over 3,712 acres through LLCs like Rocky River Hydro and Rocky 130 of Chatham. This has been 3,712 acres through 42 individual acquisitions over the 5 years of our study from 2020 to 2025. And this is in our county, which already has 108,732.75 acres in exempt and present use value, which is over half of our county acreage wise, as shown on the map. Moving on. Here is the map of exempt and present use properties in Yancey County. And as I said earlier, there's 108,732.75 acres in exempt and land conservation, in exempt and present use. Broken down, this is 48,692 acres that are exempt, which is in red, while 60,063.07 acres are in present use, which is in green. So this additional land conservation poses a large economic drawback in a county that already has so much land in present use and exempt properties. As you can see on the next slide, 130 of Chatham, which is Tim Sweeney's company that have been buying the land in our county, are shown on the map. And these are properties that are exempt or are going into conservation that have all been bought for him or taxed at a lower rate. So on the next slide, how the process specifically works is before being purchased, properties are usually at taxed at a normal rate. So what this means is that once Tim Sweeney acquires them through his LLCs, the properties will then be taxed at a lower rate because they're valued at less. So this means that they will go into present use value, and which means they're usually at a lower rate. Then they are usually deeded to a conservation fund out of Maryland, U.S. Forest Service, Mount Mitchell State Park, or Pisgah National Forest. Then after that, they either have a lower tax rate, no tax rate, or it stays the same. And depending on the recipient, that's what that change will be. And as you can see on the graph, for 2024 and 2025, we have lower values in the past year, but this is because our study was done through 2020 through 2025, and the data is still being collected for 2025 and won't be continued. It won't be finished being collected until June of 2026. So that is when we can see that low number, and we expect it to be at least 30 to 40,000. So that's what that lower amount is shown. So what this means economically for our county, from 2020 to 2025, in the fire departments, we saw a total loss of $30,610 to the amount they would be receiving in their revenue. This looks like Pensacola has the largest loss of $22,011, followed by South Dakota with $7,074, Newdale with $2,542, and West Yancey with $273. So in summary, the fire tax loss total for the past 5 years was $30,610. So the county tax roll has been $273,321, accounting for a total of $303,931. And again, the data is still being collected, so we do expect it to grow. And what this means is over the past 5 years, the amount of tax loss accounts for 1.5% of the 2025 annual tax collections. So over the 5 years that we reported it, it accounts for 1.5% of this year's budget or this year's collections. And that also equates to a cumulative 18% of deferred tax in 2025. And we expect over a 10-year period that this will exceed 1 million in tax revenue due to the land still being taxed at a lower value and that being carried out as the budget increases, but the revenue stays the same for these properties. Looking ahead, we really love the conservation effort, especially for ecological benefits, but there are economic drawbacks that I wouldn't have considered before because of the loss in tax revenue. And this has to get projected onto other taxpayers. To offset this, we propose the donation of something to benefit the community that has similar economic value, like a monetary donation to buy a community center like Beulah. We plan to present this in front of Tim soon and hope that that could be the outcome. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job. And it's not funny in a comical way, but it's very timely.
Yeah.
What you've done.
Yeah.
Because this has been part of our conversation for a few years, especially this past year, this present year. Thank you for that. This
Yeah.
just helps us.
Yeah.
Combat some of the things that we're facing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our goal is to get him in front of Sweeney. See if we can, get him to help the community in another way, like maybe purchase long.
Well, I hope and pray that you can.
Thank you so much. I too.
We're on your side.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. Thank you for your guys' time.
Thank you. We appreciate it. There, kind of cleaned up there. We appreciate that so much. All right. Chris, is that everything? Next on our agenda is our county manager report for spin off.
I'll be a couple of things to take care of first. The next place, MOU revision. Last time, a couple months ago, we did it for 1 year. Sonia can answer any questions if we need her to, but we're just asking that, this MOU be extended for 3 years. They're having to do some building modifications down there to the tune of about $30,000 to be able to house these kids down there. DSS, it's not a lease. DSS has the building space, but it's a partnership with, the MOU with Next Place for them to furnish it and do the work in there and stuff and get it ready. So, and that's where we can house children, as you know. Next Place does a great job about the children and putting stuff in there because kids feel like they're more in a home environment. So, nothing else changed on the MOU. Donovan has approved it. And, I just ask that you guys make a motion to approve it on their side.
Do I hear a motion to approve this MOU? Have a motion, do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
None opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that.
Sure. A couple of things on our side. Chris didn't mention we met with Rob Ash this week, last week or so. Was our FEMA person in District 4, which is us. And we laid the law down on where, what we needed, where and the funds and how they're rolling and not rolling. Projects that we were getting held up on, such as debris, and some of those have shook loose a little bit. Some big debris piles that we need to be able to move got pushed along. So was able to meet with the North Carolina Emergency Management, Joe Stanton, as well as Rob and his the major progress there. Glad that we have their attention. Another little update is we signed a notice to proceed for Charlie Brown Road last week, and so that's a 6-month process for the sewer line in. So they're looking at January 2nd through July of 2026. So it should be about 6 or 7-ish months there. So looking at getting that going. Let the school know that the well project is underway on the 11th. We did mobilize there. And so, as for an update, I haven't heard that they are working on two wells at Blue Ridge Elementary School. So that should be finished after the first of the year. It shouldn't take long to get all that fixed up. Morgan and myself has been working on a couple of grants. The M put out a lean response grant, any county and municipality that turned down for any FEMA projects could apply. Great step. So we were scrambling to get all our numbers together and get that put in. One of the big ones is the landfill up there. We had another breach on the back side of that landfill, as you know, we've talked about in the past. And so we own that with Mitchell County, as you guys know, so we asked Mitchell County to put in their portion, so it didn't take up all our money. Yeah, so that was good, and able to ask for a few more response items there. So good news is, we're down on any of our FEMA projects yet, that we thought that there might be a hiccup in it. Because we as long as we get the money. So, we thought, because they considered a closed land, even though we don't accept any more debris, we do contract to the tune of about $100,000 a year, as you know, between us and Mitchell County, bonds and all that stuff. And so, even though it's closed, it's not closed. It's a mandatory mandate. So, another quick thing is, Brandon Price, worked on a emergency management grant. I asked for $2.4 million on some rate. Got power site, and they were working on projects. So they're working on getting radios and where we can hand out work. And as so it doesn't take much to eat up that money pretty quick. But we did put that in last week for the EMs. Morgan and Brandon got that. So anything we can do to pick up these grants, that money, put in for money, and as well as long-term recovery. If there's some that we can work together, there's half, but if we can see across those lines and you do this, we'll do this, and the town, sometimes we can work together and get that triple our money. So we're looking at all that. I appreciate it. The COG's been a good help. We did get the $5 million that we requested through the health department. Yancey had let me know this week, or this last week, that she got funded for the felon systems. It's not just Helene. Helene bumps them up in their chain a little bit, but it's for any felon system in Yancey County. That person can apply through the health department. Chris Rhodes at the COG works through our health department in the surrounding counties. And if we get those funds going, it's a first come, first need basis. If we spend a fair $5 million, possibility we could receive some more funding by that COG having a 5-county region or so. It's for failing septic tanks. Yeah, from home. It's not just Helene. I think Helene is more recognized, but it's also for any failing system. So that's a good thing. You know, we have lists of failing systems, people that need help with odd situations now, maybe each one. So,
Talk about that. It's not just you. There's going to be some of the interior stuff in your home as well, not just the environment.
right. And that'll all be through. And they'll handle that. No, they're pumped and, you know, pump them on the hill and this, that, and other. It's more than the regular septic system. So that's just some of the things we've been working on out of our office. Also, debris, FEMA. If it's not debris, FEMA, it's not been lined lately. So these are just additional things on top of our normal things that still working on FEMA. Got 44 projects in there, and still making sure that they roll through. If we need to talk to Rob, we talk to the state, or not Rob, but Rob Ash. How do we move those projects along? So it's a timely thing. But time's money for us. So the small projects, about, but I'm worried about $250,000. We need the large projects in, you know, everything we have is reimbursable, but it's just a timing thing, so. Sooner the better.
Absolutely.
But, no big, but, getting it. Got on their part doing anything. So, everything's moving along good, no problems. Just letting you know where all our projects stand. Heather's been working on her project. She's going to have to back up the front. You guys know you funded their sewer project down on Pine Bluff. Thought she was in the floodway, and she is the some risk there. That she thought she was going to have to try to move. She's been all there for a few days, and we all were. That come to find out she was going to be able to waterproof that facility. So hopefully we can get more grants here she can, but if they can waterproof it, they can still leave it there. So that's been high on the list lately. I don't know. She said somehow that she can waterproof that building. I don't know if it's something else for that, but the engineers are working on the way so they can water. But Helene changed a lot of things. You know, Helene hit there and her system really, really bad thing. It was the headwaters, you know. But she's had because of things how we do business. It affected us more ways than one. I mean, it's floodways changed. So Brandon can vouch for that. The floodway and flood zone and all that. It's changed how we engineer things and the resilience. I will say we've met with education this last week. Our projects, whether it be East Yancey wastewater treatment plant, Henry Park, the berm, or the campground. Sad to say our engineer on the campground passed, the 13th. And so last month, I'm not sure, he just had a heart attack suddenly, and passed away. So we've had to kind of regroup with the rest of his co-workers there. And he let but they'll have some plans to bring to you guys pretty soon on the campground. So there'll be some things in the real near future that some decisions what you would like to see. But anyway, we did meet with mitigation. And mitigation, if we had, let's say we had $5 million of the ground figure, and $5 million on the campground mitigation to meet all the make it more reasonable. So anything that would make it waterproof or our water line, sewer line, any kind of catch basin, that kind of thing, you know, to make it more resilient, they pick it up the same amount of money. So we got with our mitigation and we sat down with every one of our engineers that we have that could potentially benefit. So it's Ray Court Park, Cane River Burn, but even though those are projects, it's considered too. And the campground and East Yancey wastewater treatment plant. So we've tried to put every bit of money that we can or put in for it to get it on the table. So, and as you know, we're looking to still relocate the park, everything checked out good on that. Did purchase, as you purchase the land to move it. And where we're not trying to build it back for a fourth or fifth time down there next to the water. So that's part of mitigation as well. It's moving it out of that flood zone 4 times a night. And I think FEMA agrees too. So that's kind of where we've been in the last month and what we've been working on. And a lot of good things going on. Raycourt Park, he has board. Can't keep him out of there. He's moved in. He's ready to get out of the little small building up there at the Lincoln Park. So he is in. They are finishing up just a few little oddball things. He's pretty particular, which is no fault. He was making sure they dotted their I's and crossed their T's, but they are in that building with his guys. And there's still quite a bit of work to do from the FEMA on Raycourt Park. So that little stream turned Jackson River like everywhere else. we have done all that. And then, well, is not only the land stuff gone, but also with, and so, there's some chances for those sheds to be redone. So we'll have a not groundbreaking, but, grand opening, I think Lawrence planned on that building, be open to the public. So it's just so nasty and mud now, and hopefully we'll have that parking lot redone and project and different things, so. But, that's what I have as far as what we've been working on. We have, Chrissy here, I don't know if they want to do any more updating. Chris has done from the Big Log Community Center and jail. If you want to come on up and tell them about where you're at with the community center.
No. I don't scare them off and throw me out.
Thanks for coming, people.
Thanks for having me. So as y'all know, I'm from VLOG. Besides the LTRG, VLOG is a lot where I have met a lot of people knowing their unmet needs also. So I have had a lot of people just from VLOG onto that. And I know a couple of you came down at the beginning, Sandy did, and Morgan came down and seen what we were like. Well, we've changed a lot since then. We give out exchange propane. We have plenty of food. We have clothes still. We only take in new clothes. We have unnoticed, sorry. And yeah, so we also now have furniture too. And what we don't have is a building to stay in, of course. So we have thought about, we really want the school, not only for what we have it for as now too, but we wanted it for a lot of personal reasons that the community wants it for. And we've also decided too that maybe that may not be the best way to go because it's going to cost a lot. So we're thinking of looking at other property too, where we can put a metal building on and just be able to do cheaper and still accomplish what we want to accomplish. Yeah. No. We invite you guys, all of you guys to come down and check us out and see what we're all about.
You haven't seen firsthand. First, it's in my voice, but I really have to see how devastating each transit town is hit. By far, the hardest that township is hit harder than here. I think all these towns got rough. Transit town has rough. And the fire destroyed. There's not. The strength of that part, they don't have fun. They have volunteers. They have men and women. They're dedicated. They don't have the fire. So think about all the individuals and families have lost their homes are gone. Their homes are gone. Families gone. People fly with them. They don't have fire department. And that hurts. So much. I think I'll be long. And I don't live in Belong. I don't know if Belong. So, even.
Well, you guys are doing a nice job, by the way.
Yes, you did, didn't you?
God bless you.
What you guys have done is paramount.
Miss your life.
And, all 1 or 2 times you've been there. So that's been your home, you know?
It's, yeah,
Hard.
it's hard not to work hard there. And if you've got any volunteers, sorry, I didn't mean. Thank you.
Okay, okay. That, I shouldn't have come in. You know, the professor recently, how big trucks to help us pick up a shipment that's being given to us from Virginia, but also get those trucks. It's
It's all
actually,
new.
first, we don't have trucks to pick it up. Thousands of dollars for us to have trucks to get some, trying to find someone to help us with trucks to get to bring it to Virginia. Two truck offs of brand new furniture. We need two trucks to pick it up and bring it back for us.
A lot of furniture.
It's a lot of brand new furniture.
And stuff.
We're trying to get,
So it'll go to all these people that are just getting in their home.
we're working with, Stephanie with,
Rebuild.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, the office last.
She built it, rebuilt it. Yeah,
God bless.
thank you guys for listening.
That's all I have.
Next is our, thank you. Next, our county commission. Report on our
Yeah.
I would like to say that, coming up sometime in January, we're in, you know, all of us at that, council forum. Putting out a video about the state of the county and this state. So we'll elaborate on, sorry, closer to the status where we are, all the way. So be looking forward to that. Here, good information, impactful, clarity, understanding about why, where, and how we are. Okay, on several different issues out there. And, what you need to is part of that, so thank you. And next up on the agenda is a kind of first, well, nothing for you. Yeah. All right, thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is our public comment. And it's been well over 2 years since it's like this. We had one speaker tonight, and that's Mr. Danny McIntosh.
You signed up, right?
He signed up.
Well, Danny Salmon, you know, Danny always thanks somebody from the community or recognizes a hometown hero or somebody that's been, just a good community leader or something in our community. Okay.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
So I'll just say, tonight I want to read Danny because, and not just Danny, but Danny and Sharon both. But Danny, was feeling the need of the county tax office, for many years there. And not only did he feel it, he thought he was retiring one time. He didn't know it was just a brief pause, but, during the storm, you know, we had an opening down there, administrator again. Of course, the rebound in the storm, so you can take it how you will. There's a lot going on. But, we reached out to Danny. He was willing to come back and serve in that role. Not so easy, huh? Danny, I just say thank you for all you've done for Yancey County. Different level of your life, and, we appreciate it here on the county level.
Thank you, Lynn. My head's big now. I can't say anything.
I want to say something too. If you want to know somebody or understand somebody that's a true community servant, not Terry Sanders, He's been asked multiple times, not just through our administration, but multiple times, to step in and fill in and do some different things. And I've known Danny Babcock for a long, long time. Danny's always been in the community service element of our county. And, we're proud of you. Appreciate everything that you've always done for us. And I'm telling you, he served Yancey County well, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all that you did for that.
I said, no, I can get trouble for that. I think the one his mom is retired. And she has served our community well on every different aspect as well, and standing beside Danny too, so that she's to be commended in more ways than one. But anyway, we thank the world of Sharon, and we appreciate what she's done for EMA.
Well, and the reason I've just been late, because Karen had the bathroom torn out of the house. Some discussion on how that was going to go back, you know. So here we are, Christmas, and we're looking forward to sort of, you know, getting caught up here in the winter time. I just expect to have a good time for it all. Before I say what I'm going to say, I'll tell you what, it's been a hard act to follow. Chris Senior, he's got $100 million and 85 projects going on in any urge. I just love the enthusiasm of you, and especially very intellectual and competent you who can take a complex project, and there's a lot of research went into that. It wasn't simple, it wasn't easy, but he put it into basically easy to understand. And so y'all sort of see in a nutshell, 100 years from now, Yancey County will be a very beautiful place. But the taxable property, the tax base is going to dwindle to make it look like it's going to look. And there's no other way to put it. That's going to equal tax increase. So there's going to have to be a lot of thought put into how you move forward and how you replace some of that revenue. And I will not say anything about the 2%. I'm going to let that go. The last 21 months has really been a trial. And now it's hard to get a conversation back past the storm. But now I'll let you know what we went through in 24 with reappraisal. Reappraisal was always that way. But there was a lot of good work done, a lot of things done. And since that time, we've gone through the storm. And the way that we approached storm damage in the tax office, I'm convinced that was as good as any process could have happened. We preserved the taxpayers' rights to appeal at every point. The commissioner is very good about considering individual taxpayers and their situation and doing what they could to remove some of that. Jessica talked about the refunds, and she knows there's going to be more. She said, I hate to do that. I said, well, Jessica, the commissioners understand. It's just doing business. It is what it is. These people, they lost their property, and they deserve, this consideration and to move forward. And now the tax office is going to be dealing with the effect of the storm for several years. And that's going to create, some unknowns in tax revenue generation and how that's really going to affect them. So nobody's nowhere near out of the woods yet at any level. But to have said that, 2025, starting there in February, I think that the county's made some good hires in personnel in the tax office. We've got some things in place to move forward in the future. I'm encouraged that Jessica has an opportunity to make some progress. We're currently just working through some things that we've sort of inherited and hope to get a lot of that cleared up, or at least get people involved knowing where they are before I leave, but I'll leave when we get. I'm encouraged about the tax office, the staff in the building. So I look forward to seeing that. And I appreciate the good words that y'all said here tonight. I don't know that I ever intended to do anything this, but it turned out the way it did, and it did. We managed to make it through. You know, I've been very blessed in these 21 months. I haven't been sick a day. I've been able to come and work all day, every day. Really. And that's pretty amazing in itself, I think, you know. So that's where we are, and here we are. And this is going to be my last official statement for the board. Come next month, I'll just be a citizen. I'll find something to complain. No, I won't do that. But thank y'all. Thank all of you for what you've done and your dedication. And we'll be looking to move forward. And I'll stop now. I'll march in the top. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the, what, anybody? That's a motion, I'm taking it, wait a second. All those in favor say aye. Folks, thank you very much, and, Merry Christmas. Hope everybody has a great holiday season. Enjoy it with your family.